It's time for the 2024 Third Annual CLUE Awards. Please welcome to the stage your host, award-winning veteran journalist, and host of News Nation's Banfield, as well as the upcoming podcast Drop Dead Serious, Ashley Banfield.
That is a long walk in heels. I think this should be called the sneaker convention because I have seen everybody in the most sensible footwear of all time, and I'm so proud of you all for doing that. Thank you, everyone. I'm your host, Ashley Banfield. I'm that crazy little cartoon character on your table because normally I'm sort of a goofball, but I can also be drop dead serious, which is the new podcast, and that is what I am tonight. A bit of a goofball, but I'm also drop dead serious, and I'm really thankful that you have me here to host the 2024 CLUE Awards, so thank you so much. Hey, shout out to the News Nation table, leading the applause. Thank you, guys. Those are my peeps. It takes a village, we all know that, right, to do what we do. I am thrilled here to be honoring this year's most exceptional titles in true crime TV, documentary films, podcasting, and publishing. Our nominees this year could not be more deserving. Let me tell you, there is a lot of power in this room tonight. Just take a look left and right, and then look over their heads, because I'm not talking solely about the power that comes with having like a massive platform and a recognizable name, though we do have some serious legends in this room tonight. To name a few: Chris Hansen, Paul Holes, Brian Enton, and the inimitable John Walsh. That is some star power, right? But I, right now, am talking about the power that we have in the media to affect real change in everyday lives, especially when it comes to matters of justice. I can hear the reverberations about how important that is. Whether it is with a camera, or with a microphone, or with a pen, everybody in this room has the tools to amplify information, draw attention to injustice, and put pressure on the authorities. It's really that unique ability to speak truth to power, holding those that possess the keys to some of our most sacred institutions, hold them accountable, right? Accountable to the people that they are supposed to be serving. In doing so, we ensure that nobody falls through the cracks, and we help give power to the powerless. This is especially true with true crime media, where we've seen time and time again, we have the power to help solve crimes. It's incredible. Case in point, back in 2021, a young woman named Gabby Petito went missing while on a road trip with her then fiance near Jackson, Wyoming. He returned home to Florida from their cross-country road trip without her and without any explanation. And during the initial days of Gabby Petito's disappearance, when her family was struggling to get the authorities to take their concerns seriously, Gabby's family appealed to the media to help pin down her whereabouts, and more specifically, why that fiancé refused to answer any questions about where he had last seen Gabby. Before long, police and the FBI had a multi-jurisdictional investigation opened up, which helped to bring attention to the case, which in turn brought clues that led authorities to her body and unearthed the clues that proved that fiancé was responsible for her death. It is hard to say whether we would have these answers today were it not for the intense media scrutiny on that case. What is not hard to say is that laws, actual new laws, have changed because of the dogged work that Joe Petito and his wife Tara Petito, along with Gabby's mom Nicole Schmidt and her husband Jim Schmidt, have done to ensure that other women have a fighting chance against their abusers. And I know Gabby's family is here tonight. I think I speak for everyone in this room when I say that all of us in a unique partnership wish you the peace and the strength in your journey towards true justice. Through the Gabby Petito Foundation, we know that you're going to turn this pain into something that will help so many other women down the road. So thank you. Just last month, I began covering the mysterious death of a young man out of Oklahoma named Noah Pressgrove. For 7 months, Noah's family begged the authorities for answers. They begged the authorities to investigate further. They begged the authorities for a simple cause of death. But it was only after we began nightly coverage of his case on News Nation that the investigators began calling that family back and sharing information and devoting more resources to solving this case. So again, the power that we hold is something to behold. Of course, there is always a flip side to this coin. We have all seen what an unwieldy animal the media can be and how recklessly creating salacious content solely to grab ratings or gain followers can do some true, real harm. Before the authorities identified a suspect in the 2022 slayings of 4 University of Idaho students, a social media conspiracy theorist brutally defamed an innocent professor at that university, a professor who was called a murderer. To this day, she is still struggling to climb out from under those false accusations. This despite the fact that an actual defendant in the case is barreling towards a quadruple murder death penalty trial. Without question, the media coverage of true crime, it can go off the rails. But as many in this room have exemplified, when it is created responsibly, for the right reasons, with ethics and with purpose, this content can sometimes provide a tool that is equal to and sometimes greater than the prowess of the investigative authorities. After all, it is real hard to hide in the shadows when we collectively shine our spotlights in the areas that some were hoping would stay real dark. This evening's nominees and the honorees have used their power to demonstrate true commitment and leadership and understanding and excellence, while creating true crime content that educates, advocates, and strives to make a real difference in the world. The categories that we're going to be honoring tonight include Most Outstanding TV Episodic Series, Most Outstanding TV Docuseries, Most Outstanding Documentary Film, True Crime Book of the Year, America's Greatest Detective, Outstanding Podcast Episodic Series, Outstanding Podcast Docuseries, People's Choice Creator of the Year, and a truly legendary Crime Fighter of the Year recipient that you do not want to miss. Here's a hint. I sort of said his name already. And I really like this guy. So please join me as we celebrate this year's absolute best in true crime TV, podcasts, books, and more. Good luck to all the nominees. I know this is going to be a really powerful night to remember, so are you ready? Yeah, sounds like it. As my colleague Chris Cuomo always says, let's get after it, okay? Starting here, for the past 25 years, our first presenter has worked closely with police agencies in metro areas across the country to keep up with the latest in advanced forensic technology information that he uses to craft one of the most successful TV franchises of all time. Please welcome to the stage creator of the hit series CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, and all of its spin-offs, Anthony Zuiker.
Thanks very much. I met my hero today, John Walsh. That was the coolest guy ever. So special shout out to my NBC Universal peeps, Corey Abraham, Miranda Wise, Gina Dill, and Stephanie Steele. So shout out to them guys. Hello, I am Anthony E. Zeiker, creator of the massively popular shows CSI Crime Scene Investigation, CSI Miami, CSI New York, CSI Vegas, which just got canceled, and who could forget CSI Cyber? Anyone here think it's time for CSI Nashville? With CSI, we've done exactly 901 episodes across 39 seasons and have created billions of dollars worth of revenue. But since this is a true crime crowd, I'm proud to announce that the real CSI Miami comes out in a few weeks. June 26th, be there. Real cases and real cutting-edge forensics are the premise, and I know everyone in this room will love it. But there's one group of people who don't always love CSI: prosecutors. The show has actually created a courtroom phenomenon known as the CSI effect. It's the belief that jurors now expect to see advanced forensic evidence in every case. In one study, a prosecutor revealed that a juror said, quote, "They didn't even dust the lawn for fingerprints." This CSI effect is mostly anecdotal, but I do take it seriously. As creators, we all must take responsibility for real-world implications of our work. In fact, that's the one reason it means so much to be presenting this year's CLUE Award for Outstanding True Crime Episodic TV Series. Now, when I was just 28 years old, I was given the opportunity to pitch my first TV show. I just had to figure out what it was going to be first. One day I'm flipping through the channels and I catch an episode of the true crime series called The New Detectives. Anyone here work on that? That show, much like tonight's nominees, inspired me to create the world's most hugely, widely, and yes, massively popular franchise in TV history. I didn't write that, just to let you know. That's the real CSI effect. So tonight, whether you're a content creator, an industry pro, or just a fan, I hope the work of tonight's nominees inspires you to create something meaningful and share it with the world. For the first time ever, we had a tie with the judges scoring. So we have 6 great nominees instead of the usual 5, and here they are.
The nominees for Television Outstanding Episodic Series are Killer Cases, A&E, The Law and Crime Network. Prosecuting Evil with Kelly Siegler, Oxygen True Crime, Wolf Entertainment, Universal Television Alternative Studio, and Magical Elves. 2020, ABC, ABC News. Me Hereafter, Hulu, Committee Films and ABC News Studios. Buried in the Backyard, Oxygen True Crime, Renegade 83, and Entertainment One Company. Feds, Investigation Discovery, Orit Entertainment and October Films.
And the winner for Outstanding Episodic TV Series is unreal. Table 6, Me Hereafter, Hulu.
This is so exciting and very heavy. It really is. So I'm Maria. This is Jen and Megan, and I want to say first, I brought them here. They work on our team at Committee Films, and they are our librarians and archivists, and they do all of the FOIA requests, so the Freedom of Information Act requests and things like that. They deserve to be honored. They do a lot related to our true crime programming. But thank you. So we made this show for ABC News Studios, so I would like to thank them, David Sloan, Eamon McNiff, Mike Kelly. We have a great relationship with ABC and also with Hulu. Certainly everyone at Committee Films, my husband, Andy, who can't be here, also as an executive producer. We own the company together. John Steinhorst, who did our reenactments. Brendan Harris, our director of photography. There's just so many people. But thank you. This is like an honor, and certainly to the victims' families who worked on this show with us. They were with us every step of the way. And if you haven't seen it, I hope you watch it, and it's on Hulu. Anything you want to say? No? Okay. Thank you.
From Court TV, please welcome Matt Johnson and Julie Grant.
Heels.
Took me a little longer, but that's okay. We're so happy
They're
to
hot.
be with you all.
Yeah, crime. Wow, Julie. Never looked so good.
I know. Everybody's looking fabulous.
You look
My
great.
gosh. Thank you, my friend. You too.
Thanks.
I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?
We've seen each other like all day.
Matt. Okay, serious question. Are you sick of me from being with me so much?
You? No.
I know. Yeah, so we are very good friends.
We're like best friends.
We talk probably 10 times a day.
More than that. I am her godfather to her dog.
She really is, yeah. Bella's godfather right here, yeah. And that's just not enough to see each other every day at Court TV.
Yeah, well, I mean, we hosted the Russ panel earlier today. It was a hit. It was a knockout.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so,
Of course, when the CLUE Awards asked us after the Russ panel if we would go ahead and work together again and spend some more time together.
Of course we said.
Absolutely.
No, I need space. What she said.
That's right, what I said. We wanted to be together here, and we're so excited to be presenting the award for Outstanding TV Docuseries.
So these are the shows that do a deep dive into the case for its entire limited series run.
And this year's nominees include A Brother's Search for the Truth about a sister that he grew up believing ran away.
And shocking allegations of abuse cover-ups within a church 8 million members strong.
New revelations on the investigation into the tragic murder of 4 Idaho college students.
As well as exclusive new details from the lead detective now breaking their silence in the South Carolina attorney, you may know this one, turned family annihilator.
Plus, the very curious case of a girl accused by her adoptive parents of actually being a homicidal adult.
Let's meet the nominees.
The nominees for television Outstanding Docuseries are Burden of Proof, HBO, Marquee Media. The Killings on King Road, NBC Universal, Dateline NBC. Let Us Pray, A Ministry of Scandals, Investigation Discovery, ITV's Good Caper and Horizon Productions. The Murdaugh Murders, Inside the Investigation, NBC Universal, Dateline NBC. The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, Investigation Discovery, Hot Snakes Media.
Gold envelope.
Do the honors.
And the winner is
The Murdaugh Murders, Inside the Investigation, Dateline NBC.
really surprised and excited. I'm honored to represent my colleagues who could not be here tonight. Craig Melvin, Carol Gable, Paul Ryan. We worked for 3 years for the culmination of this report, but the ultimate trust was put with us from the victims and their families and the detectives who worked tirelessly on this case that some of the people in this room might know about. This was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity, so thank you.
That side, and I don't even get to hug the ones on that side, and they're like former colleagues of mine, so this is kind of weird. Our next presenter is no stranger to anybody in this room. In addition to being a prolific contributor in the true crime space, his contributions to the real world of crime as a legendary cold case investigator pioneering the use of genetic genealogy were critical to identifying the Golden State Killer. That's a case that I and many of you probably have covered a lot over the years. You already know it, but I'm going to say his name anyway. He is the slightly handsome and extraordinarily smart and adorable Paul Holes.
So this is actually my third year presenting the CLUE Awards, and I'm honored to be put in this situation again. This year I'm presenting the award for Book of the Year, which recognizes true crime writing and excels in factual storytelling while exhibiting sensitivity for victims and their families. That is so important. I know the extreme effort and the emotional toll putting a book together can have because I've been there myself. I know that it's just you, alone in front of that keyboard, reliving all the intricate details of a real crime, and it can be traumatizing. But it also can be cathartic, not just for the author, but for everyone impacted by the crime. So, I am empathetic and in awe of the work you all do. It's not easy, but it is important. This year's nominees have all answered that consequential calling, writing stories that cover the case of an eccentric outcast accused of killing the wife no one knew he had, a former park ranger chasing digital footprints to find real-world missing hikers, a podcaster's detailed dissection of the dark history of forensic science, the story of a classic Hollywood femme fatale real-life murder scene, and the memoir of a Tacoma detective who helped finally put to rest the 32-year-old homicide of an innocent young girl. Some really strong contenders this year, and I congratulate all of you for making it this far.
The nominees for Book of the Year are Zenith Man, Death, Love, and Redemption in a Georgia Courtroom, McCracken Poston Jr. In My DNA, My Career Investigating Your Worst Nightmares, Lindsay Wade. A Murder in Hollywood, The Untold Story of Tinseltown's Most Shocking Crime, Casey Sherman. Trail of the Lost, The Relentless Search to Bring Home the Missing Hikers of the Pacific Crest Trail, Andrea Lankford. Lay Them to Rest, Laura Norton.
And the winner is Trail of the Lost, The Relentless Search to Bring Home the Missing Hikers of the Pacific Crest Trail, Andrea Lankford.
Hi, I am not Andrea Langford. I'm actually her editor, Carrie Napolitano. Andrea couldn't be here today, but she is going to be absolutely elated when I text her right after I get off stage that she won this. I just want to say working with Andrea on this book was incredibly moving. It's really about the power of people who are outside of law enforcement, who really care about solving these cases, banding together and, volunteering hours and hours of their lives to go searching for people that have gone missing in America's wilderness. And I found working on the book incredibly inspiring. It really shows the beauty of what humanity can do, even amidst the darkest, most tragic acts. And I think this award going to somebody like Andrea, who's really dedicated her life to helping these women and helping these families find their loved ones, is really beautiful. So thank you very much.
Our next presenter is a great guy. And I say that because I know him and adore him, and I've worked with him, and I consider him a friend. He is a retired Tulsa, Oklahoma police sergeant. You already know, right? You already know. He's a current contributor to the Reels Channel program On Patrol Live, one of my favorite shows. And he also is the host of his own podcast, Coptails and Cocktails, for the Law and Crime Network. He also happens to have one of the coolest nicknames in the business. Announcing the nominees and the winner of this year's America's Greatest Detective Award, presented once again by the Law and Crime Network, is Sean Styx Larkin.
Good evening to you guys. It's great to see you all. My name, as Ashley mentioned there, is Sean Styx Larkin. And on behalf of the Law and Crime Network, I am here to present the second annual America's Greatest Detective Award. Yeah, our law enforcement needs it, I promise. Recognizing the most complex investigative work done by teams or individuals working in and around law enforcement. But first, a lot of people have asked me over the years, how did I get my nickname Styx? And it's been asked here at CrimeCon. I've spoken to Ashley before about it. Is it because I'm a tall, skinny guy? No. Maybe it's because as a former sergeant, I carried a large, hickory baton stick with me. That's not it either. Or if some have speculated, maybe it's because behind closed doors, I am secretly a really badass drummer. I know where some of your minds were going there. No, definitely not that either. Unfortunately, the truth is not nearly as cool as any of those. When I was a young man, I was doing an internship with the Tulsa Police Department. And I was not an officer. I did not have a uniform. I did not have a gun. I did not have handcuffs. But what I did each weekend was I did a ride-along as part of my internship. So every Friday and Saturday night, I'm this college student riding with these two guys. I had a flashlight and a ballistic vest that they provided to me, and that was it. Well, one night, they get in a car chase with some gangsters, and one of the guys bails out and running. And me being 21 years old and young, dumb, and fast runner at the time, I jumped out the car and chased the guy. And just reminding you, I was not a police officer. I had no handcuffs. I had nothing. But I caught the guy and I tackled him, and luckily he didn't fight me. He just stayed on the ground until one of the other police officers, who actually had a gun and badge and handcuffs, caught up to me. And so once he caught up, he actually put handcuffs on the guy, and he turned to look at me and he said, "Hey, great job, but you can't do that F-stick." So you guys are all adults, and we all know what the F word was that he called me. And so F-stick was shortened to Styx. And for the past 30 years now, I've had this constant reminder of something I did when I was 21 years old doing my internship with the police department. But thankfully, tonight is about celebrating some great investigators known for the opposite of making a dumb mistake like I did that night. This year's deserving nominees for America's Greatest Detective include a California tribe's first ever missing or murdered indigenous peoples investigator, a dedicated husband and wife underwater search and rescue team, and a decorated senior inspector with the U.S. Marshals Missing Child Unit. Now let's take a closer look at some of our nation's most accomplished investigators of 2024, and I promise you, there's not a stick in the bunch.
Law and Crime searched the nation for the best detectives, from top investigators on high-profile cases to citizen sleuths. Thanks to our viewers' submissions, we selected 3 finalists who have changed their communities through solving complex crimes. Let's meet the top 3.
Hi there, my name's Julia Oliveira. I'm currently the Yurok MMIP investigator here in California.
In 2023, the Yurok tribe appointed Detective Oliveira, the first ever investigator in California dedicated exclusively to missing or murdered indigenous people's cases. First in the role, Oliveira has faced challenges reopening 15 cold cases while also fighting for new resources to protect a community that makes up just 1% of the United States, but has a missing or murdered rate of 37% per capita.
Hello, I'm Gene Ralston. We use sonar technology to conduct deep water searches and aid missing persons investigations across the country. My wife Sandy and I are from Kuna, Idaho, and together we started Ralston Underwater Search and Recovery Team in 2000.
Environmental scientists by trade, the Ralstons discovered their calling for missing persons recovery in 1983 when they pulled a flood victim from the Boise River with just a boat and their knowledge of the science of water conditions. Adding sonar technology in 2000, they've been involved in a total of 132 searches, including 29 homicide investigations. Their expertise is regularly sought out by local law enforcement, as well as even NASA and the FBI.
Hi, my name is Laura Tierney, and I am a senior inspector with the U.S. Marshal Service in Missing Child Unit, and I serve as the agency's liaison to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
In early 2023, the Marshals worked with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to launch Operation We Will Find You, a nationwide effort to locate missing children and victims of trafficking and kidnapping. With Tierney at the helm, facilitating everything from fielding new tips to training the marshals in the field, the operation located 225 children in as little as 10 weeks. Based on our viewers' votes, one of these 3 finalists will be named America's Greatest Detective.
Before I open this, I just want to say it's been a pleasure getting to know all of you guys, and thank you for myself. I assure you the community and the communities you guys work in for what you do. All right, America's Greatest Detective 2024, Laura Tierney.
Jesus, this is really overwhelming. First, it has been an honor to be nominated and to be nominated alongside Julia and Jean and Sandy. They are amazing, and I've had such an awesome time getting to know them and creating relationships with them. I want to thank my boss, Darby, who has led our unit. Without her, we wouldn't be nearly as successful, and Darby is awesome. I want to thank NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That's where I sit. Yes, I love NCMEC. They're amazing. And last but not least, I want to thank my #1 supporter, my son, Lincoln, who is amazing and has never, ever given me a hard time for having to take a phone call on a Friday night in the middle of watching Harry Potter and eating pizza with him. And I can't wait to see him tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. This is, wow. Thank you.
Please welcome former homicide prosecutor, ABC legal analyst, and the author of The Book of Murder, Matt Murphy.
So last year, for those of you who were here, I actually hosted this whole thing. And it was fun. I thought I did a great job. And my friend Kelly McClure, who is the busiest person at this event every year, she's behind the scenes. And anyway, she calls me. Yeah, can we get a round of applause for Kelly? So I was kind of expecting to be invited back. And I get a call from Kelly, and it's like, it's the phone call I've been waiting for, and it's like, I'm ready to say, of course, I will host the CLUE Awards again, Kelly. And I'm like, conversation goes on for a while, and so she's like, we're thinking about this and that, and then, I'm like, do you want me to host the CLUE Awards? There's this pause, and she goes, no, we have Ashley Banfield this year. Who, by the way, she's had me on her show a couple of times, and quick funny story. I was leaving News Nation, I was getting on the elevators, and I'd done Elizabeth Vargas' show. It was nice enough to put me on. I'd never met Ashley Banfield before, and all of a sudden, she comes running towards the elevators, and I'm by myself, and she's like, do not get on that elevator. And I'm not even sure she's talking to me. She's got makeup stuff around her collar, and she's like, my name is Ashley Banfield, and I would love it if you came on my show. So she is every bit as delightful and as awesome as she appears, and I think that we are all very lucky to have journalists like her out there kind of fighting for the good guys. I'm officially her biggest fan in this building, and I mean that sincerely. So last year, Nancy Grace presented this award, and if she's the true crime, I think that means Ashley must be the princess of true crime. Maybe. Back when I was a senior deputy DA, I would spend weeks, months, and even years preparing for a case and making sure that every detail was covered, and we'd explored every avenue and turned over every rock. You work endlessly to gain unparalleled access to the subject, and you dig up every hidden detail that you can that will make your case. This year's prestigious nominees have delivered the very best among documentary films. They've been released on all platforms with a running time of 60 to 120 minutes. From a revealing update on the assassination of a Tejano music superstar, to a new look at a 25-year-old killing of a young man that changed the way we talk about hate crime in America. There is an in-depth expose uncovering a literal underworld of shadowy hackers, brand new insight into a heartbreaking, decades-old child abduction, and an intimate portrait of a pathological liar who made international headlines not once, but twice for two different infamous crimes. Let's take a look at your nominees.
The nominees for Outstanding Documentary Film are Cyberbunker, The Criminal Underworld, Netflix, BTF. Selena and Yolanda, The Secrets Between Them, Oxygen True Crime, Jupiter Entertainment. The Matthew Shepard Story, An American Hate Crime, Investigation Discovery, Lion Television. Snatched, ABC, ABC News 2020. Pathological, The Lies of Joran Vandersloot, Peacock, NBC News Studios.
And the winner is Cyberbunker, The Criminal Underworld on Netflix. The team is sadly unable to be here tonight, but they did send this video.
Hey, I'm Kilian Lieb. Thank you so much for this recognition. We also want to thank BTF and Netflix for believing in our dear and the entire team for making this film possible. It was a long and challenging journey, but we're happy for the chance to tell the story. To get this award now means a lot to us. Thank you.
So I will happily accept this award on their behalf. This thing weighs about 30 pounds. So thank you very much.
Thank you for those incredibly nice words, Matt. The check is definitely in the mail. Matt is truly the nicer one among us. If you've ever had a chance to work with him, not only is he just razor sharp, but he's kind and he's generous with his time, and he's just super easy to work with, which is, you know, the producer's dream. By the way, did you know that according to at least one comprehensive study, the average crime fan consumes between 3.5 and 4.5 hours of content per week? I know, right? I'm like, who wrote that? That's my morning. It really does sound a little low to me, because I know for a fact that there is one group among us that has watched and listened or read way more than that, and that's our 2024 CLUE Awards jury. So I hope the names are popping up at some point, because without the help of the many, many generous professionals who make up our jury, dedicating their time to find the best of the best among the thousands of hours of submissions, tonight just would not be possible. I am so appreciative of these names that you're seeing. And I have to be honest with you, like, the best part of this scroll is that many former CLUE Award winners have gone on to join the jury. So we're actually creating this perpetual motion machine here to get recognized for creating responsible content, and then to help to recognize others. And I know that some of our jury members are present in the room tonight. So if I may, heels or no heels, would you please stand up so that everybody can recognize you and know who to send the bribes to for next year. And a very serious thank you. It is a lot of work, and it is very much appreciated by everybody who's here. Okay, presenting our next award, she is a forensic interviewer. She's a podcast producer at Tenderfoot TV, and she's the winner of last year's award for Outstanding Podcast docuseries. Won't you please welcome to the stage the incomparable Jamie Albright.
Hello, I am so excited to be here again at the CLUE Awards and to be in this room with all of my peers. I truly love podcasting. Last year, when Freeway Phantom won the award for Outstanding Podcast docuseries, it took me by complete surprise. Not only because we did not expect to win in the field of so many talented creators, but also because I literally had no idea that I was going to be the one giving the speech until we were walking up alongside the stage, and my brother says, "Congratulations, by the way, you're accepting the award." So if you've ever wondered what it's like to work with your brother, that is a really great example. So when the spotlight hit, I had no idea what I was going to say. But when I think back, that's kind of like podcasting, right? You know, we have a plan when we sit down to record, when we conduct our interviews, but once we start talking into that mic, we go where the story takes us, speaking from our hearts and trusting that all the work and preparation we put in beforehand will guide us down the right path. This is especially true for the nominees this year for Outstanding Episodic Podcast Series, which cover a new case each and every episode. The nominees include a former lawyer turned network correspondent interviewing those directly impacted by crime, a predator hunting investigative journalist that you never want offering you a seat, a PI using public pleas to help get the word out on unsolved murders, a retired detective actively working on cold cases, also known as a big brother to millions of Americans, and a weekly spotlight on the overlooked and underrepresented cases of missing Black and brown people. So you've all worked so hard. Congratulations on getting this far. Let's see the nominees.
The nominees for Podcast Outstanding Episodic Series are Hell and Gone, Murder Line, School of Humans and iHeart Podcasts. Untold Stories, Black and Missing Enterprises. Predators I Have Caught with Chris Hansen, Heard Off Media. My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty, Paramount. Detective Perspective, Square Mile Studios.
And the winner is Untold Stories, Black and Missing Foundation. This is so exciting, yay!
Wow. I am so overwhelmed that we received this award on behalf of the Black and Missing Foundation. And as the host of the show, the competition and everyone who are telling powerful stories to even be on the stage and to be in the room with the other people tonight is an honor. I want to thank CrimeCon for all you do to make a difference. Kevin and Elise and the team are really working to diversify the stories of missing people of color and all of us. And so on behalf of all of the families who really deserve the same level of support, who deserve the same level of law enforcement attention, who deserve the same level of media coverage, this award is for them and for their families. Thank you.
Please welcome the winners of the 2023 People's Choice Award and hosts of the Prosecutors Podcast, Alice LaCour and Brett Talley.
Hey guys, I'm Brett Talley.
And I'm Alice LaCour.
And we are thrilled to be here presenting this year's award for Outstanding Podcast Docuseries.
These are podcasts that take one case and follow it over the course of multiple episodes. And believe me when we say tonight's nominees are truly the best of the best. Last year, you all gave our humble podcast, The Prosecutors, the People's Choice Creators of the Year Award.
Which is still insane.
So crazy. And what an amazing honor, especially since it can only be voted on by those with a CrimeCon badge. We're talking about an extremely sophisticated and knowledgeable group of people.
Just like Twitter. Considering all the hugely talented creators we were grouped with, we figured it had to be a mistake.
It's true. But then we started breaking things down rationally like we do in all the cases on our podcast, and before long, the answer became obvious.
Everyone else must have split the vote. Anyway, here we are again, and as Alice said earlier, there should be no confusion as to why this year's amazing nominees made it this far. These exceptional docuseries titles include an award-winning investigator's attempt to solve the case of a happy-go-lucky youth worker in the Great White North.
A reinvestigation into the case of a man convicted of murder based on now questionable DNA evidence.
An expose into a wealthy political donor hiding a den of sex, drugs, and death in his Hollywood apartment.
A marginalized woman's crusade against extreme Karen culture after being falsely accused of kidnapping.
And a determined daughter's desperate search to find her father's killer 21 years later.
Let's take a closer look at the nominees.
The nominees for Podcast Outstanding Docuseries are White Smoke, America's Chemsex Killer, Whistledown Production for Audible. Imperfect Paradise, People vs. Karen, LA-ist Studios. Trace of Doubt, Tortoise for Audible. Someone Knows Something, CBC Podcasts. Ice Cold Case, Madison McGee.
And the winner is...
Someone Knows Something, CBC Podcast. So unfortunately, they were unable to join us this evening, but the show's host, David Rigdon, would like to extend his thanks on behalf of CBC Podcast and the victim's family.
But don't worry, we'll make sure they get their reward. Thanks, everyone.
Shout out to the Canadians. I am a Canadian American, so that's really a treat to hear my old CBC doing good work. CBC, way to go, y'all. I never thought I'd say CBC, way to go, y'all. What has happened to me? I got Texasified when I moved out of Canada, straight down to Texas. We got some Texans in the house? Really? Man, that's a lot of Texas. All right, I'm glad to hear it. Hey, our next presenter needs very little introduction. For decades now, we have watched this investigative journalist take down some of the most heinous online offenders with just 3 terrifying little words. Have a seat. Was that good? I was working on that. Like, I wanted to sound so much like Chris Hansen, but I don't think I pulled it off. So, it is the name that child predators fear the most. Please welcome to the stage, Chris Hansen.
Thank you, Ashley. Can I tell you how nice it is to walk into a room and not have people run out the other door? I unfortunately missed you all at this fight event last year, and it's one of those situations where now it can be told. After I finished one of my presentations, I had to run out of here, lightning speed, because I had to go to my night gig, which was being embedded with the Polk County Sheriff's Office outside of Orlando, catching predators. So I would do my job here at CrimeCon and then go out and be embedded. And in that particular investigation, I think we caught 6 men in the course of a week trying to meet children and exploit them for sex. But it was an interesting parallel to be talking about it in the daytime and doing it at night. We pulled it off. But thank you all for being here. And I have to say that, I was just a little upset when they first announced to the public that I was going to be presenting at this year's CLUE Awards. You see, the most of the work that I do, I prefer to arrive, as you can imagine, unannounced. I like to come out from behind a curtain or a closed door. At least you're already seated, so I guess that's pretty good. But in all seriousness, I'm very happy to be here tonight presenting the award for People's Choice. And this is a very cool award, and you're going to hear why. It's the People's Choice Creator of the Year. These nominees have every reason to hold their heads up high. I mean, look around this room. We have some of the top creators in the world right here. It's amazing the amount of talent, and this award has become so prestigious in the field of awards for content creators. This year, a full 1/3 of all CrimeCon Nashville attendees filled out a ballot for this particular award. And as many found out, this election was not just about who has the biggest audience. Attendees were each sent unique voting links that allowed for only one vote, no posting on social media, no blasting links out in emails. And from the thousands of votes received, we've narrowed it down to your top 5 favorite CrimeCon creators. That's right. These are your nominees, the shows you all agreed did the best job of crafting compelling true crime stories week after week after week. The ones that educate, advocate, and maybe even make you laugh. We've got some familiar names in tonight's batch, including last year's winners, the Prosecutors Pod, who you just met. That's right. As well as some new contenders. So what do you say? Should we meet the nominees? Let's do it.
The nominees for People's Choice Creator of the Year are The Prosecutors, Alice LaCour and Brett Talley. A Date with Dateline, Kimberly Arnold and Katie Mitchell. Crime Weekly, Derek Lavasser and Stephanie Harlow. Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. True Crime Garage, Nicholas Edwards and Patrick Edwards.
And the winner is A Date with Dateline, host Kimberly Arnold and Katie Mitchell.
Just to clarify, we are not Dateline. We are A Date with Dateline. But
who thought they were voting for Dateline? Hands.
Yeah, hands.
Anyway, this is absolutely insane. We are so humbled to be here with all these people who are solving cold cases and advocating for victims' families, and we are making dumb jokes about suspects' weird facial hair. So we want to thank CrimeCon and the CLUE Awards for this. Wow,
We
it
also
really has our name.
mostly want to thank Dateline.
Yes.
Dateline tells incredible stories for a very long time now, and it's a joy to cover the episodes that they do because they tell those stories so well in a way that we never could. So we just sort of cover what they do.
Yeah.
They do it great.
That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And when we started the podcast in 2017, they welcomed us with open arms, and they could have done the opposite. So that was really amazing.
thank you for everyone here.
Yeah.
Thank you to our listeners who voted for us.
We
That
have the
means a lot.
best listeners in the world, and the community that they've created amongst each other is just so beautiful. So thank you. Thank you.
So I have already spoken about our next group of presenters once tonight, but the tireless work that they have done to assist victims of domestic violence and to help create a local missing persons network, all while enduring the greatest personal sacrifice, this really just cannot be overstated. That's why I am very pleased to reintroduce to you the presenters of the 2024 Crime Fighter of the Year Award. They are last year's recipients from the Gabby Petito Foundation. Tara Petito, Joe Petito, Nicole Schmidt, and Jim Schmidt.
Hello, everyone. It is an absolute honor to be here presenting the 3rd Annual Crime Fighter of the Year Award.
Last year, you gave this award to the Gabby Petito Foundation, and it meant the world to us. It still does.
Being presented the award by the previous year's winners, the Black and Missing Foundation, was an amazing experience, and we're honored to pay it forward by being back to present this year's award.
But we do have to say, to be passing the torch to this year's winner is a bit surreal. It almost doesn't feel right that we are even in the same category.
Honestly, the only reason that this is the man getting the Crime Fighter of the Year Award is because the CLUE doesn't have a Lifetime Achievement Award yet.
If they did, there would be no one more deserving than the person we honor tonight, Mr. John Walsh.
This man has been fighting for the victims of crime longer than a lot of us have been alive.
You all know NCMEC, right? The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children? Before John Walsh, that didn't exist. I don't know if people really understand the monumental effort it takes to get multiple governmental agencies under one roof working together, create something like that, but that's exactly what he did.
Earlier, our host talked about the power of the media and public to help solve crimes. If there is still any doubt about that, just look at that show John Walsh started back in 1988, America's Most Wanted.
The very first case ever featured on America's Most Wanted was of a killer who had eluded capture for over a year. Just 4 days after that first episode aired, he was behind bars where he remains to this day.
Since that first episode, America's Most Wanted has assisted in the capture of over 1,200 criminals. If that doesn't show the power of us all to come together and assist law enforcement in a responsible way, what does?
America's streets are unquestionably safer because of him. But on a very personal level, we are humbled to be presenting John with this award because he was there when we needed him most.
When our Gabby first went missing in the fall of 2021, we had no idea where to turn or how to get the police to take us seriously. We felt powerless.
It was the very worst time in our lives. And one of the first people who reached out to us to offer support was John Walsh. This man has testified before Congress probably 100 times. And here he is offering us his time.
It made a real difference in our lives and in getting the resources we needed to bring Gabby home.
But beyond just bringing attention to our case, he also let us know that we could call on him at literally any time we needed, which is mind-boggling considering how many people he has offered the exact same assistance to over the years.
We can personally attest that even after 4 decades, John doesn't just talk the talk. He walks it with the people who need him most. And that's why we are here tonight to honor and thank the man who has helped so many people at the worst times in their life for so many years.
We've
come up with the conclusion that he was probably snatched.
I just want that person to know that we want to help them as well as Adam.
We just want him back more than anything. We have hope, and we'll never give up hope, and we'll never stop searching.
Who could take a 6-year-old boy and murder him and decapitate him? Who?
The greatest legacy you can leave is to make a statement for your children.
Until now, there has been no such place to which one could turn in order to try to find and help these children.
I'm delighted to have the opportunity to help launch the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Strong loud voice for children.
Good evening from Washington, D.C. I'm John Walsh.
This is a bad day for you.
The country's still very vulnerable.
Your tips have sent me on a global journey for justice.
The bad guys get more violent. One victim can be a loud voice.
They're really stepping up their work to catch sexual predators that hurt children. Oh, you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot. But you have touched my heart. One of the best days I've spent.
It's old school meets new school, and we're going out and kick some butt. It's great to be back on Fox, and I get to do it with my son Callahan. You're going to see the worst of the worst creeps that are out there.
We're in this violent society, we're in this lawless society, and I've never seen anything like it, and I've been doing this for years. I don't work for anybody. I don't have an agenda.
You tell me where that dirtbag is, and I'll go catch him. Public deserves better. We're going to do our little part, but I know law enforcement needs all the help they can.
Let's not forget who the real victim was. It was Adam, and let's make sure he didn't die in vain.
For his groundbreaking work on America's Most Wanted.
His instrumental work in creating the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
And for being a champion to all victims and families for 4 decades.
We are very proud to welcome the recipient of the 2024 Crime Fighter of the Year Award,
John Walsh.
Thank you. Please sit down and relax. First, I got to thank the Gabby Petito SWAT team for giving me this award. It's like a cartel right here. But we belong to the same terrible club, Parents of a Murdered Child. And it either destroys you, 90% of parents of murdered children wind up in divorce. It drives everybody, collateral damage is massive, but you are battling from the day she left. And thank you. God bless you. God bless you. So, I got a lot of people to thank. Ashley Banfield, I think you're over there somewhere. I was flying around the world and I saw this really nice looking lady who was an anchor woman. I forget, Ashley, was it Dallas or somewhere like that? And I went, boy, there's a smart lady. So we approached her. She's a lawyer. She's got a big heart. She's a mom. Nice looking lady. Went to work for me years ago. And she went out there, and boy, when we needed somebody to go out and kick some ass, she kind of catches you off balance because she's attractive, and cops always fall for that.
guys they are. And she always came back with something, with an answer, helped us in so many ways. And it was an honor to work with you, Ashley, and I thank you so much. You're still doing it. You're still doing it. I saw Laura Tierney, my grandmother's name was Tierney, and the marshals that did that wonderful, wonderful takedown of, found over 200 children basing in the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It's a great partnership. As you mentioned, we're the only place in the United States that has multiple, I think we have 17 federal agencies that work together. And Laura is one of those with the U.S. Marshals. I'm a sworn marshal, it's a real honor. But they all come to work in the morning and they all take their coats off and they're all from different federal agencies and they work on one thing, exploitation of children, sex trafficking. Took me years to get it, but now we got the one spot. And they should work together like that all over the country. But Laura, you guys do a hell of a job. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Kevin and Kelly, will you stand up? Kevin, you're right there. Where's Kelly? Thank you for putting this on. What an honor, what an honor. You do it with class, you do it with dignity and integrity, and you recognize a lot of people who are not going to get recognized or ever get a pat on the back. So God bless you and thank you. I don't know how you pick the winners, but I look at everybody in this room together. I was saying it earlier today. We received 40,000 cards in the mail after they found Adam's remains. The post office dumped him on our driveway, and I was devastated. I was a hotel builder, building the hotel dream of our life. I couldn't work. The hotel was coming in way over budget. And I lost 30 pounds. I just couldn't function. But there was my beautiful wife out in the garage opening every one of those cards, and it took her forever. And she said, John, there's a lot of mass cards. There's a lot of wonderful comments about how you did in this search. She says, but there's so many of them from parents of missing children, runaway children, non-custodial parental abductions, murdered children cases, unidentified bodies never brought to anywhere of children put in Jane Doe graves. She said, it's mind-boggling. I want to start a center. So she started our center, the first center, out of our garage. But now it's incredible, really incredible. But we're here. We heard we have a booth, and boy, we can help you. We have all kinds of things, all kinds of tools for your business. We've got literature in 27 languages. We've got forensic artists. I could go on and on. Besides the cops, besides the manhunters and the child hunters that work there, we've got all kinds of resources to do what you do so best. So please, have the time to stop by the booth, give them your name or something. Let us put you on your mailing list, and you never know. We may have something that you can use or that we can give you that will help you in what you do. But this is really wonderful to be acknowledged by my peers, and I look at you that way. And my special congratulations and heart goes out to the survivors. I don't call them victims, I call them survivors. We're survivors. It toughened us up, almost destroyed our lives, but we're still fighting. So there are a lot of people out here. So many women came up to me very quietly and said that they were physically or sexually abused and nobody did anything about it. You're trying to do something about it. I've always tried to do something about it. I believe that anybody that hurts a child or a woman is a damn coward and they need to be punished. They need to be hunted down like a dog. So, thanks for the honor. Congratulations to all of you, because I said it I still say it. And I hope Fox launches us. I've got Callahan, my son. He's got the young legs, and we just did 6 sample shows. We caught 4 guys. We caught a guy that's been out there for 6 years, molested his own grandchildren, 4 and 3 years old, on the run. His sister was feeding him money, and we caught him in Polk County because of the 6 episodes we were trying. It was a great capture. It was a great capture. But while he was at large, while he was on the run for 6 years, we had 12 girls call up our hotline over a 2-week course, teenagers, young ladies saying they were molested by that bastard. He's now charged with molesting 14 girls, and he did it while he was on the run. So you helped me do this, and I say it at the end of every show. You can make a difference. I believe for years that the vast majority of people are good, and they would do the right thing if you showed them a way to do it without risking their lives. People worry about revenge. People worry about retaliation. So I had a simple premise to Fox, and I love Fox. I said, I'm not coming to Hollywood. I'm not doing any Hollywood cases. I want to do them in Washington, D.C., so I can be near the center. I can be near the marshals and the FBI. I pick the cases, and cops don't answer the phone. They come to my studio, and if somebody wants to talk to them, we will. But my trained hotline operators will make sure one thing: nobody knows who you are. Don't tell me your name. Don't tell me if you're legal, illegal. Don't tell me if you live in Mexico or Canada or wherever. Just tell me where that douchebag is, and I'll go get him. So, you, cops in this audience, detectives, you helped me catch almost 1,300 fugitives from America's Most Wanted, and those are the worst of the worst. Guys that were hunted for 20 years. The first guy I picked was on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted. He had raped 30 women, got out early, and he murdered 2 families and 2 kids. So when I went home and said to Reve, they're driving me crazy to host this show. It's a reality show. What the hell is reality? And they said, it's done by Fox. And I went, who the heck is Fox? This producer keeps following me around and saying, we tested actors, you're the real deal. And I went, who the hell's Rupert Murdoch? Oh, he's a millionaire. Now he's a billionaire. And I said, how many shows? You're going to be what? The 4th new network? And this is in 1988. There were only 3 networks. There was no streaming TV, no cable, nothing. ABC, NBC, CBS, New York Times, Wall Street Journal said, you'll never succeed. There'll never be a 4th network. I said, so do you have a show? And they said, we have one show. It's kind of a little hit. We found a musician working on Sunset Boulevard named Johnny Depp. And I went, who the hell is Johnny Depp? So I didn't know who Rupert Murdoch was. I didn't know anything about Fox. I didn't know who Johnny Depp was, but I went home to Reve, my wonderful wife, and said, they want me to do this show, and I want to pick the cases. And I want to pick a child murder, but we've been getting a lot of threats lately. That horrible group, NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association, I testified against them. They threatened to kill Megan. They'd get our unlisted phone number. I said, I don't know if you can live with that. And she says, what are you talking about? This is what we do now. You go get them, John. You saddle up, my favorite saying. You saddle up and go catch their ass. That's a brave woman. But it all started out of Adams. So I say it again to everybody. You can make a difference. People don't have to worry about revenge or being killed, whatever. They just need to go on the line, pick up the phone, and drop that dime. So you're my partners. You helped me catch all those guys. We found 61 stranger abducted missing children. I've caught 17 off the FBI's 10 Most Wanted, more than any FBI agent. And how did I do it? It wasn't just me. It was me and my cabal of wonderful people and you. So this award is for us. So thank you. I'm blessed. God bless. Thank you. Thank you.
I just got called smart and tough by John Walsh. That is my award tonight. Everyone, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of the hearts of all the very deep-hearted CrimeCon organizers. That is the 2024 CLUE Awards. I just want to say I have absolutely loved being your host tonight. I want to congratulate all of the winners, all of the honorees, and really all of you in this room. You are so dedicated to what you do, and you are so dedicated to the people who need us. So really, thank you. Please never, ever forget the power that you have or the responsibility that comes with it, because you're superheroes. Good night, everyone.